Welcome to Sports Bios, the podcast where we delve into the fascinating lives of athletic legends, and I'm your host, Howard Closewell. Today, we're going to embark on an extraordinary journey through the life of Edson Arantes do Nascimento, better known to the world as Pele, the Brazilian soccer icon whose mesmerizing skills on the pitch have left an indelible mark on the sport. As we explore this captivating story, get ready to discover the triumphs, tribulations, and transformative moments that shaped a man who transcended his humble beginnings to become a global phenomenon. Pele's life began on October 23, 1940, in the small town of Três Corações, Minas Gerais, Brazil, where the rhythms of soccer and samba music filled the air. The sound of the ball bouncing on dusty streets, the smell of freshly baked pão de queijo wafting from the local bakery, and the vibrant colors of the Brazilian flag waving in the wind all combined to create a sensory experience that would forever be etched in Pele's memory. His birth occurred during a tumultuous period in Brazilian history, with the country still reeling from the effects of the Great Depression and the authoritarian regime of Getúlio Vargas, who ruled with an iron fist, suppressing dissent and freedom of expression. The echoes of this era would later influence Pele's own struggles for social justice and equality. Pele's parents, João Ramos do Nascimento and Dona Maria, were humble folk who instilled in their son a strong sense of discipline and a passion for soccer that would eventually propel him to greatness. His father, a former soccer player himself, regaled young Edson with tales of his own exploits on the pitch, inspiring a sense of wonder and awe in the boy. The family's small house, with its makeshift furniture and corrugated iron roof, was a hub of activity, filled with the sounds of laughter, music, and arguments. The young Edson would often accompany his father to watch local matches, where he'd marvel at the skills of the players and dream of one day joining their ranks. He shared a small house with his parents and siblings, where the struggles of everyday life were palpable. The family's financial situation was precarious, with his father working multiple jobs to make ends meet. Despite these challenges, Pele's parents encouraged his love for soccer, recognizing the potential for the sport to transform their son's life. The young Edson would often play with makeshift balls made of socks and rags, honing his skills in the streets and alleys of Três Corações. His natural talent began to flourish at an early age, and local coaches soon took notice of the boy's prodigious abilities. The move to São Paulo marked a significant turning point in Pele's life, as he found himself immersed in a vibrant cultural landscape that would shape his personality and inform his worldview. The city was a melting pot of African, European, and indigenous influences, where the rhythms of samba, bossa nova, and jazz filled the air. This rich cultural heritage would later inspire Pele's unique playing style, which blended technical skill with creative expression and spontaneity. As he navigated the streets of São Paulo, Pele was exposed to a diverse array of people, each with their own stories and struggles. He saw firsthand the effects of poverty, racism, and social inequality, experiences that would later inform his advocacy for social justice. The young Edson was not only molded by his family and community, but also by the broader historical context in which he lived. His experiences during this period would lay the foundation for his future success, as he learned to navigate the challenges of poverty, racism, and social inequality, all while cultivating a deep love for the beautiful game that would eventually take him to the pinnacle of international soccer. As Pele's talent continued to flourish like a rare, exotic flower in the scorching Brazilian sun, he caught the attention of Waldemar de Brito, a renowned coach who would play a pivotal role in shaping the young player's career. De Brito, impressed by Pele's exceptional skills, which seemed almost otherworldly, invited him to join Santos FC, one of Brazil's most prestigious clubs, in 1956. This marked a significant turning point in Pele's life, as he embarked on a journey that would take him to the pinnacle of international soccer, leaving an indelible mark on the sport and cementing his status as a global icon. The year was 1956. And Brazil was abuzz with excitement as the young Pele prepared to make his debut with Santos FC. The anticipation was palpable. like the electric tension before a thunderstorm, as fans and pundits alike wondered if this diminutive Afro-Brazilian prodigy from Três Corações could truly live up to the hype surrounding him. And then, on September 7, 1956, Pele took to the pitch, his feet barely touching the ground as he seemed to dance across the turf, leaving defenders in his wake like autumn leaves scattered by a gust of wind. At just 15 years old, he scored 4 goals against Corinthians, a feat that left the Brazilian football scene agog with wonder, like a collective gasp of amazement at the sheer audacity of his talent. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation, like the crackling of electricity in the air before a storm breaks, as Pele, still just a teenager, prepared to face off against one of South America's football powerhouses. And though Brazil ultimately lost that match, Pele's impressive display, marked by his speed, agility, and technical skill, hinted at the greatness that was to come, like the first whispers of a revolution that would soon shake the foundations of the sport. The 1958 World Cup in Sweden proved to be a defining moment in Pele's career, a watershed moment that would propel him to global stardom. At just 17 years old, he became the youngest player to participate in the tournament, a feat that seemed almost unbelievable, like a fairy tale come true. And yet, as he took to the pitch, his presence seemed to electrify the very air around him, like a spark of creative genius that ignited the passions of fans worldwide. His impressive performances, including a hat-trick against France in the semifinals, helped Brazil secure their first World Cup title, a victory that would be etched in the memories of football fans for generations to come. And as the Brazilian team lifted the trophy aloft, basking in the adoration of the crowd, Pele stood tall, his eyes shining with a sense of pride and wonder, like a young king surveying his kingdom from the pinnacle of success. The 1960s saw Pele continue to dominate the football world, leading Santos FC to numerous domestic and international titles, including 2 Copa Libertadores championships in 1962 and 1963. His performances on the pitch were nothing short of breathtaking, like a symphony of movement and skill that left defenders bewildered and fans agog with wonder. As the great Brazilian player Garrincha once said, "Pele is a phenomenon, a player who can do things that no one else can," a statement that seemed almost prophetic in its accuracy. And yet, Pele's impact on the sport extended far beyond his on-field accomplishments, like ripples spreading from a stone cast into a still pond. He became an international ambassador for football, transcending cultural and linguistic barriers to inspire fans around the world with his charisma, humility, and infectious passion for the game. His music, fashion sense, and charismatic personality made him a household name, a symbol of Brazilian identity and creativity that seemed to embody the very spirit of the nation. The 1970 World Cup in Mexico marked another milestone in Pele's career, as he led Brazil to their 3rd World Cup title at the age of 29. His performances during the tournament remain etched in the memories of football fans worldwide, like a series of vivid tableaux that seem frozen in time. Who can forget his goal against Italy in the final on June 21, 1970, a strike that seemed almost effortless, like a hot knife slicing through butter? It was as if Pele had transcended the limitations of mere mortals, becoming one with the game itself, like a conduit for the divine spark of creativity that animates all great art. As Pele's career continued to soar, he found himself at the forefront of a cultural revolution in Brazil, his success on the pitch having made him an icon, symbolizing the hopes and aspirations of a nation. His influence extended beyond football, with his music, fashion sense, and charismatic personality making him a beloved figure in the sporting community, like a shining beacon of inspiration that illuminated the lives of all who followed him. As the Brazilian writer Paulo Roberto Falsao once wrote, "Pele is more than just a player. He is a cultural phenomenon, a symbol of Brazilian identity and creativity, a statement that seemed to capture the essence of his enduring legacy." As Pele's playing career drew to a close, like the final curtain call on a storied theatrical performance, he began to focus on his post-football life, pursuing various business ventures and philanthropic endeavors with the same unwavering passion that had defined his time on the pitch. It was as if the spotlight which had shone so brightly on his athletic prowess, was now illuminating a new stage, one where his charisma, entrepreneurial spirit, and commitment to social causes would take center stage. In 1975, he announced his retirement from professional football, but his impact on the sport continued to reverberate, like the lingering resonance of a perfectly struck bell. As I reflect on Pele's post-playing career, I am reminded of the profound observation made by the Brazilian writer Mario Filho. Pele is a symbol of hope and joy, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there is always the possibility for greatness. These words, penned by a man who had witnessed firsthand the transformative power of Pele's athletic genius, captured the essence of his enduring legacy. Like a masterful novelist, Pele had written a story of triumph, one that would continue to inspire generations to come. In the 1980s, Pele turned his attention to social causes, particularly in the area of children's welfare and education, with the same zeal that had driven him to become the world's greatest footballer. His commitment to giving back to society was evident in his numerous charitable endeavors, including his work with UNICEF, where he served as a goodwill ambassador, using his platform to amplify the voices of those who needed it most. As the years passed, Pele's legacy continued to grow, like a rich tapestry woven from the threads of his countless achievements. In 1999, he was named Athlete of the Century by the International Olympic Committee, and in 2000 he received the FIFA Player of the Century award, a recognition that cemented his status as one of the greatest athletes of all time. But Pele's later years were not without their challenges. He faced a series of health issues, including hip replacement surgery and kidney problems, which would have been enough to slow down a lesser man. Yet, like the great athlete he was, Pele persevered, drawing on the same reserves of strength and determination that had carried him through the triumphs and tribulations of his playing career. Despite these challenges, he remained active in public life, attending high-profile events and continuing to inspire new generations of football fans with his presence, a reminder that even in the twilight of his years, Pele's flame continued to burn brightly. As I look back on Pele's life, I am struck by the profound impact he had on the world of sport and beyond. In his own words, football is a language that everyone understands, and it has the power to bring people together like nothing else. Pele's life was a living embodiment of this idea, as he used his platform to bridge cultural divides and inspire positive change. Pele's passing on December 29, 2022, at the age of 82, marked the end of an era, but his impact will continue to be felt for generations to come. And so, as we close this chapter on Pele's remarkable story, I am left with a sense of awe and wonder at the sheer magnitude of his achievements. Like a great novel, Pele's life was a masterpiece of triumph and tragedy, of joy and sorrow, of hope and perseverance. As we look to the future, we would do well to remember the lessons of his life and to strive for greatness in our own way, just as Pele did. That's all for today's Sports Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, I'm Howard Closewell, reminding you to keep shooting for your goals.